In 2010, the United Nations General Assembly, in its resolution, proclaimed a decade of action for road safety as part of the Sustainable Development Goals. The goal of the decade, that's 2011 to 2020, is to stabilize and then reduce the forecast level of road traffic deaths around the world. Following this, as is the practice annually, the United Nations is commemorating the 6th Global Safety Week from 17th to 23rd May, with major concern on managing speeding in order to reduce road traffic deaths and injuries by 50% by the year 2030, while looking at other road-related safety issues. Weekend File therefore intends to explore the topic managing speed, safer roads for life, and how speed management, driver engagement and road infrastructure can assist in promoting safer transportation in Nigeria. My guest for tonight is Deputy Corps Marshal Operations FRSC, Kayode Fanola. I'm Joseph Johnson. Let's bring you the news first. Muhammadu Buhari will on Sunday, May 16, 2021, depart Abuja for Paris, France, on a 4-day official visit to attend African Finance Summit, which will be focused on reviewing African economy following shocks from coronavirus pandemic and getting relief, especially from increased debt burden on countries. The summit, to be hosted by President Emmanuel Macron, will draw major stakeholders in the global finance institutions and some heads of government who will collectively discuss external funding and debt treatment for Africa and private sector reforms. During the visit, President Buhari will meet with the French president to discuss growing security threats in Sahel and Lake Chad region, political relations, economic ties, climate change and partnership in buoying the health sector, particularly in checking spread of COVID-19. With more research and vaccines before returning to Nigeria, President Buhari will receive some key players in the oil and gas sector, engineering and telecommunications, European Council and European Union representatives for foreign and security policy and commission, and members of the Nigerian community. The president will be accompanied by Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Yama, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Trade and Investment Otumba Adeniyi Adebayo, and Minister of Health Dr. Osagie Ehanire. Also on the trip are National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Mungunu, retired, and Director General of National Intelligence Agency NIA, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar. And President Muhammadu Buhari puts a phone call across to his Turkish counterpart, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, expressing satisfaction with existing bilateral ties between the two countries and called for greater Turkish participation in the economy and the humanitarian efforts in the northeast. President Buhari extends sincere message of goodwill and felicitation on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr to President Erdogan and the people of Turkey. The two leaders expressed their desire for peace and stability to reign in the world and for an end to all ongoing conflicts, as well as the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on religious leaders to unite in support of the fight against terrorism, kidnapping, banditry, and the novel coronavirus pandemic. The president spoke in response to the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Saad Abubakar, who called to felicitate with the president on the successful completion of the Ramadan fast and the observance of the Eid. The president called for continuous dialogue between the leaders of the two major religions for peace and stability in the reign in the country. President Buhari commended the Sultan for his effective leadership of the Muslim Ummah and credited him with the sustained unity of the community under his watch. The Sultan pledged his commitment to the continued existence of the country as one and assured the president of the support of the Sultanate in the ongoing efforts to tackle the challenges facing the nation. Following the call by President Muhammadu Buhari on strategic leaders to close ranks for the unity and stability of the country, some religious leaders in Kaduna have resolved to collaborate in promoting peaceful coexistence and tackling the prevailing security challenges. Adamu Sunday reports that renowned Islamic scholar Sheikh Ahmad Gumi and his Christian counterpart, Pastor Yohana Buru, made the commitment in Kaduna.
To felicitate with Sheikh Ahmed Mahmoud Gumi and the entire Muslim Ummah on the successful completion of the Ramadan fast and each free Salah celebration, Pastor Yohana Buru came. On the strength of national unity, cohesion, and tackling the challenges of security bedeviling the nation, the two leaders are on the same page.
My Bible tells me, come, let us reason together. Let's reconcile. Make peace with all men at all costs. With holiness, we see God. Blessed are the peacemakers. Peace is our watchword. Peace is what we want in Nigeria. If negotiating on dialogue table will bring the solution to us, let's go.
We are all Nigerians. We should stop hostilities and see it go between men. Men of consciousness go in between and resolve this matter. It's resolvable. It's achievable.
The clerics reiterate commitment to a united and prosperous Nigeria, urging the people to shun petty differences and pray for the leaders. In Kaduna, Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
The Imo State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of one Oyekachi Madufo, an indigene of the state, for allegedly attacking security infrastructure. A statement by the Imo State Commissioner of Police, Abutu Yaro, says the suspect on interrogation confessed to have conspired with other members of the proscribed IPOB in carrying out attacks and killings of police personnel and other security operatives in the state. Efforts to arrest other members of the gang, however, saw the group engage officers of the anti-kidnapping unit and other tactical teams of the command in a gun duel, but were successfully repelled. 5 suspects were, however, arrested at the scene, while others escaped with possible gunshot wounds. Locally made weapons, live cartridges and large quantities of Indian hemp were recovered from the suspects. So you're talking security. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru has reiterated commitment to improving the welfare of troops to enable them succeed in their various theatres of operation across the country. The Army Chief gave the assurance while unveiling 2 blocks of transit accommodation for officers and Salah luncheon with troops at Maimala Cantonment in Maiduguri, Borno State. Maimuna Garba reports.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, said one of the cardinal points of achieving his vision for the Nigerian Army is to improve troops' welfare, especially those on the front line.
This building that we have just commissioned will be used for such rest and recreation. We'll continue to do our best to ensure the well-being of our soldiers. That, I believe, will enhance our fighting spirit as an army.
The Chief of Army Staff then hosted officers, soldiers, wounded and recuperating personnel of Operation Hadin Kai to a Salah luncheon, assuring to give them all the needed support to enable them succeed in the ongoing counter-insurgency war. General Attahiru further extended President Muhammadu Buhari's appreciation to troops of Operation Hadin Kai for their gallantry.
We will make provisioning of virtually all you require to make you succeed towards the quick return of peace in the entire Northeast, Northwest, and all other operations for which the Nigerian Army is partaking.
Theater Commander Operation Hadin Kai Major General Farouk Yahaya said the frequent visit of the Chief of Army Staff to the theater is an indication of his concern and a moral booster to the troops. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
In other news, the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallinn, has again emphasized that the family remains the mirror of the society as the world commemorates the 2021 International Day of the Family. While reacting to this year's theme, quote, Families and New Technologies, the Minister recounts the current realities where the virtual space has become the new normal for engagements in view of the lockdown measures put in place to flatten the curve of COVID-19. She noted that the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs identifies with families who have been torn apart due to loss of livelihoods, those who lost loved ones and could only pay their last respect through the virtual space, as well as pray for the release of those in captivity of criminals, attributing some of the social vices to lack of proper parental upbringing. The minister called on parents and guardians to be responsible in their duties as role models, stand united and deliberate in inculcating discipline and good virtues in their children, while embracing love as it helps fight the growing spate of terrorism and mindless killings. Also, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, also felicitates with all families in the country and urged them to stay current with technological trends in order to remain relevant in the society. She notes that the day provides awareness on issues relating to families and to increase knowledge of the socio-economic and demographic processes affecting families. The minister equally urged families to strike a balance in the use of modern technologies at home and at work, as well as safety concerns for children in the use of the internet and social media, noting that families are the foundation of society and should be protected. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says he will implement the resolutions reached at the meeting of the Southern Governors held in Asaba Delta State. Governor Wike gave the commitment at the civic reception held in his honor by the Ogoni ethnic nationality at Bori Rivers State. Ogedi Ekwere completes the report.
Governor Wike assumed office as the governor. This is the second civic reception an ethnic group in the state has organized in his honor. The first is the civic reception held in his honor by the Ikweres, his own ethnic nationality that earned him the title, the Dike Onha Ikwere, meaning the strong man of Ikwere. Now the Ogoni ethnic nationality is taking its turn to appreciate the governor's numerous developmental projects and programs by conferring on him the title Mene Kwa Lenu, meaning the king that does good things for the people.
I will say what I will say, and I will do what is right for my people.
The elated governor thanked the Ogonis for their support and tasked them to remain united and fight cultism in their areas. Governor Wike did not forget to remind the people of the need to obey the curfew imposed in the state and residents becoming more security conscious. Mbori, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, has extended the registration of candidates for the 2021 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and that of direct entry candidates for another 2 weeks. Registrar of JAM, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, said that this at the end of a 2-day stakeholders meeting in Abuja. Olanka Ojo reports. Ojo reports that the registration exercise will now end on May 29, 2021.
These stakeholders consist of representatives of the Federal Ministry of Education, the National Identity Management Commission, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the National Office of Servicom, Nigerian Communications Commission, telecommunication companies, and digital service providers. And for 2 days, they deliberated following reports of widespread delay in the ongoing registration of candidates for the 2021 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, as well as those for direct entry on the way forward.
Candidates' non-compliance with registration requirements, using wrong format to generate profile code while sending NIN to the board's USSD code 55019, using multiple cell phone numbers to generate profile code with the same NIN. CBT Center's violation of registration procedure is another one.
Some of the challenges that led to the extension for registration are presently being addressed, as some of the operators gave the assurance of the optimization of their services during the extension of the registration.
The 2021 mock UTME, earlier scheduled for 28th May 2021, will now hold on the 3rd of June 2021, while the main UTME will hold from June 19 to July 3, 2021.
At the time of filing this report, a total of 1,134,424 candidates have so far registered. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
Time for some messages. Weekend File returns in a moment or two. Do stay with us. You're still watching Weekend File with me, Joseph Johnson. The United Nations Assembly has identified road accident as the 8th cause of death globally, as Nigeria committing 5% of gross domestic product GDP to road crashes, amounting to 9 trillion naira loss annually. Serafina Okun Umekwe reports that the United Nations aims at reducing crashes to 50% globally. This is in commemoration of the 6th Global Road Safety Week.
2008 and 2009, the United Nations reeled out statistics saying more than 1 million persons were dying on global roads, and the projection for the year 2020 was that the figure would increase to 1.9 million deaths each year. It is against this backdrop that the United Nations called on member states to accede to a resolution with member states on improving global road safety in March 2010. The country director of United Nations Decade of Action on Road Safety and Traffic Injury Prevention Nigeria, Sydney Ibianusi, and the Federal Road Safety Authority say 90% of these deaths are occurring in developing and other low-income countries, Nigeria inclusive, as bulk of the deaths will remain in developing countries.
So what we're now adopting is when the road crashes occur, let there be no deaths, let there be no disabilities. So this approach now requires that we adopt measures to ensure that when crashes occur, 50% of deaths and disabilities are reduced.
Records have it that accidents have been on the increase in Nigeria, mostly due to overspeeding, and experts say efforts at curbing it has not been totally successful. Thus, the Federal Road Safety Corps attempted to install the speed limit device. How effective has this policy and implementation been?
The speed limit device is helped a lot because there are some drivers that can speed beyond their limit.
A number of road users have not realized the need for us to obey the speed limit that is allowed, and that is why we have a number of crashes.
The 5 pillars set out for this year's World Global Week center on road safety administration, safer roads and infrastructure, safer vehicles and mobility, safer road users. The United Nations Safety Global Week commences from the 17th to 23rd of May 2021 with the theme Managing Speed, Street for Life. Serafina Okun Umekwe, NTA News.
Articulated vehicles contribute 30% of road traffic crashes experienced in Lagos State, thereby impairing on the global goal of reducing road carnage by 50%. Or are there efforts to reverse the tide? Let's hear from Michael Olale in Lagos.
Kayode Oguntoyibo is not alien to the heart-rending experience of an accident scene. He escaped death by a whisker some years ago.
There was a truck that parked along the roadside, and before you knew what was happening, the vehicle ran into the trailer.
While the flashes of the horrible scene still traumatizes him, Lagos, like any other cosmopolitan city, is trying to find a balance between urbanization and regulation, simply because the concentration of industries and presence of the seaports are influencing the uncontrollable number of trucks, articulated vehicles and containers, which are usually in the middle of most accidents. The experience of June 2018 at Otedola Bridge has assisted the Federal Road Safety Commission to draw up action plans aimed at reducing road carnage by 50% by 2050.
When we look at fatality, which happened to be the major issue that the world was trying to solve in the decade of action, and for us to achieve this, the first thing we need to hit first is to drop the speed.
Despite the busy nature of Lagos, Traffic managers are still involving strategies within the metropolis at maintaining sanity, using punitive measures to reduce violations.
And in some cases, you have a fine, of monetary fine, or you can have a jail term, depending on whether it's a first offense or your second offender.
Although many indices are instrumental to the reduction of accidents, but the provision of road infrastructure, signs and symbols, experts say, have contributed more than 10% to achieving the United Nations mandates. Experts agreed that Nigeria has a robust platform to achieving safer roads, but adhering to rules and regulations by motorists is key to achieving results. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
The construction of road networks in Port Harcourt metropolis is reducing road crashes and easing traffic flow. Robinson Deratiede, however, reports that more awareness on driving rules is needed.
Port Harcourt is known for its chaotic traffic congestion occasioned by some bad roads, which often results to loss of man-hour, accidents, and occasional loss of lives. While the traffic situation has improved in areas like Rumokoro, Artillery, and Garrison due to the flyover bridges constructed, the ongoing construction of the Port Harcourt-Enugu Road by the federal government and the flyover bridges along Aba Road are expected to put an end to the perennial traffic situation there.
The construction project is completely done. Definitely, there will be the perennial Greek locks that are usually seen in the metropolis, Port Harcourt metropolis, will definitely be reduced.
You know, before this time when we had the roundabout at Garrison, it was almost on a weekly basis. We do have crashes around that area, but today it's not happening anymore.
Disobedience to highway codes, traffic laws, and careless driving in Port Harcourt pose a challenge despite the regular sensitization of drivers by the Federal Road Safety Corps. Effective enforcement of traffic laws by the Federal Road Safety Corps and the Rivers State Task Force on illegal motor parks are some measures put in place by the authorities to bring sanity to the sector.
The only way that we can have, safety on our roads is for the motoring public to comply with the road use instructions.
A lot of drivers don't have side mirrors, for instance. Side mirrors are very important so that you can look back and know who is coming before you enter the road.
Drivers are urged to change their behavior to promote safer transportation in Rivers State. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Deratiede, NTA News.
Well, like I did say earlier, my guest for tonight is Deputy Corps Marshal Operations, FRSC, Kayode Faunla. Kayode Faunla, you're welcome to Weekend Fire.
Thank you.
All right, so before we go neck deep into, our discussion, let's have a review, 2020 review on road crashes, deaths, and injuries, and of course, including what enabled them.
Okay, thank you very much. As we all know, the year 2020 was visited with COVID-19. It affected all areas of human endeavor, including transportation and then road safety management. The traffic volume generally went down, became very low because there was lockdown. So from February to December, year 2020, the volume of traffic was low, and then because the government allowed specifically some classes of vehicles, trucks and trailers that are transporting petroleum products, food items, pharmaceuticals, were the ones that were allowed for a long period of the year. So that affected the volume of traffic, and it also affected the management of the road, because we had to physically create checkpoints at interstate boundaries to make sure that those government said should not be on the road are not there, and see them there, we had to stop them. But this created a kind of an open road for other road users who are allowed. For instance, those that are transporting food items and petroleum products. And so we had a lot of crashes. We can say it was high compared to the volume of traffic that was on the road. But generally, when you look at it in comparison with the previous years, the figures, the absolute figures, were smaller. But relatively, when you look at the number of vehicles that were allowed to be on the road and the crashes that we had, we can say the crashes in year 2020 was high.
No, you didn't mention the figures. Let's have the, like you said, let's compare. What are the figures for the year 2020?
Okay, for year 2020, we had overall we had about 4,000 deaths, and
4,000 deaths.
Yes, about that. Okay. I don't have the exact figures now. I don't want you to quote me wrongly, but it was about that. And when, like I said, when you look at the volume of traffic that was on the road compared to, for instance, 2019, you see that we can say for 2020 the figure was high, because for over 8 months out of the 12 months, certain classes of vehicles were not allowed to be on the road for a period, and that reduced the traffic. So we expect that comparatively the crashes and the fatalities should have also reduced. But like, as I said earlier, those classes of vehicles that were allowed to be on the road, they had the road to themselves now, like the trailers and tankers, and then other vehicles that are carrying agricultural products, were able to, and they were traveling, and most of the time we found that these crashes were happening in the night. So they will call us in the night, sometimes we wake up in the morning only to see that these crashes had occurred. And some of them, why we had the fatalities I'm talking about now, was that you see trailers now carrying, that are carrying food items, now carry people on top or hit them inside those food items. So when they are passing, well, we just take them for vehicles that are conveying bags of beans, bags of potatoes and onions. But when they crash in the night, we found that 10 people, 20 young men have died, because they were keeping people inside.
Because sometimes I find some women, sometimes women hanging on
who
some,
claim to be the
bags
owners. Who claim to be the owners of those food items they are maybe carrying from maybe the northern region down south, and vice versa. Sometimes you see them loading pineapples, bananas, plantain
on them
from Cross River, from Akwa Ibom, going up north. So you find that when you look at the vehicle, just on the face value of it from behind, you won't, what you will see is the agricultural products. But inside, they have hidden a lot of passengers. So sometimes it is when they crash that we get to know that these people are there. That ordinarily, well, when you see such a truck, you allow the owners of the goods. That's what the rule says. It's goods and the owners. But when you now have a crowd of up to 20 people, you know that it is no longer just the owners of the goods alone, but they started carrying passengers. Because as at that time there was a lockdown, the passenger vehicles were stopped, so people were now looking for alternative ways. So in the process, when these vehicles got involved in an accident, you now found that you see a vehicle carrying bags of beans, and then you see people scattered, bags of beans falling on top of people, and they died. So that was one major thing that happened in the year 2020. But it is a kind of aberration. The passenger vehicles are on the road now, so people can travel using passenger vehicles. However, we still find the situation where some of the heavy-duty vehicles are carrying passengers.
What are some of the other enablers of, these road crashes, in the year? Because if we look at the trajectory, can we say, authoritatively, that it's been on the low? That's what I'm trying to say is, okay, for this year, the crashes, the death, and of course the injuries, were low. We're on the low.
Yeah, when you count in absolute terms, the number of crashes we are having this year so far is on the low. But the number of people involved is rising because of that issue of trucks, trailers carrying people. Okay. Some of the fatal crashes we have recorded on the highway, where we had up to 10 people dying, it was these same goods vehicles that are supposed to be carrying, either they are carrying cattle or they are carrying other food items with people inside. And when they crash, and most of the time, like I said, they crash in the night. We only get to know about it early morning, or sometime if it crashed in an environment where they're able to call on FRSC, we'll get there that night, only to find that we have to be lifting every bag of onion, every bag of beans, to know whether there is somebody under it. And when we lift them, we find that people are actually under. Some of them survived, some died. The fact is that we don't expect that this kind of vehicles should be carrying such a number of people. So, but however, we have been doing a lot of advocacy on this. We do a lot of enlightenment. We have engaged the churches and mosques. We have had to go to the traditional rulers who can help to talk to people, because this is it's about attitude.
Yes, I was just going to come to that. Okay. I want to know what is the level of the cause synergy with other road management agencies. Of course, there are other road management agencies. So, what's the synergy like?
Very good synergy. If you look at our corporate strategic goal for year 2021 and even the previous years, stakeholders' engagement is always top on our priority every year. So this year is not an exception. We have the state traffic management agencies, we work with them. We have the vehicle inspection officers, we work with them. We work with the media. That's why I'm here now. We work with the media a lot because we know that you can reach the people. And NTA has the farthest reach in Africa.
Of course.
Okay. We work with the media, all sort of, both the traditional media and the social media. Then we work with the traditional rulers. I went with my commercial to visit the Sultan in Sokoto to talk to him about what we have discovered, that vehicles coming from the far north carrying agricultural products also carry passengers, and then these passengers are they're endangered. They endanger themselves by climbing these high vehicles and also hiding inside bags of beans, bags of potato, bags of onions. So we are telling them that, look, the money you save is insignificant compared to your life. So life is more important, life is precious. Don't say because if I pay 2,000 naira, an onion trailer will take me to Ibadan, to Lagos or Port Harcourt. So look for money if you have to go down south. Look for money if you have to go up north and enter a passenger vehicle that is meant for persons where your life will be safe.
So invariably we are saying poverty is not an excuse.
No, it is not an excuse because life is very precious.
Thank you. Let's just pause there for a little while we take some messages. Do stay with us.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
This is Weekend File, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. From Kaduna, Aruna Mohammed reports that the ongoing reconstruction of Abuja-Kaduna-Kano dual carriageway, in addition to other safety measures, have drastically reduced road crashes in the axis.
The more than 400-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna-Kano dual carriageway remains a key route connecting many states of the north and beyond. Aiba Masari and Friday Udeme, both commercial vehicle drivers who have been plying the road for over 2 decades, now say there is a great deal in ease of movement with the reconstruction of the highway, provision of road signs and other traffic codes to guide motorists.
From Zuba now coming to Kaduna, at least we have good quality road. Really, the quality of the road now, the thickness is more than what we even expect.
The road is good, it's fine now. It's fine, no problem.
Other motorists also applaud government resolve to ensuring safety on the highway.
Before, we have more pothole for that road from here to Kano. You can take 5 hours before reach Kano from Kaduna, but now you can take 4 hours.
The crashes have not been as bad as we expected.
and we thank God for that. And of course, this we can attribute to adequate deployment of personnel, both regular marshals and special marshals.
Hopes are high towards meeting the United Nations revised target of reducing road traffic deaths and injuries by 50% in 2030, as the federal government moves to complete the project and other road infrastructure in the axis. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
And the Enugu state government, as well as other key players in the transportation sector, have put measures in place to ensure safety of roads while ensuring strict compliance of speed limits by motorists and other road users. Chinenye reports that this is in a bid to reduce the number of road crashes in the state.
Road speed limits, which are used in most countries, including Nigeria, are generally indicated on a traffic sign reflecting maximum, middle, or minimum permitted speed expressed as kilometers per hour or miles per hour. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, speed limits, which also need to conform with road infrastructure, may also be set to reduce the environmental impact of road traffic, as well as reduce the consumption of fuel in vehicles.
Areas that are adopted for traffic gridlock, you see our men there fully.
In Enugu State, the construction and rehabilitation of about 1,000-kilometer roads in the rural and urban roads in the state has helped in reducing road crashes.
Alleviating the sufferings of our people, especially the rural populace, through the provision of critical infrastructure and expansion of economic opportunity has been a major plank of our administration.
While efforts are being made by relevant authorities in the state to shift some markets away from major roads, some road users say there is urgent need to move markets such as the Eko Binagu, the Ababa, and Kenyatta markets out of the road to reduce road carnage and impact of inhaling carbon emitted from vehicles by traders. As the United Nations marks the Global Safety Week from Monday, the 17th of May 2021, it is hoped that with efforts made by various key players to manage speed in Nigeria, the aim of reducing road traffic deaths and injuries by 50% by the year 2030 will be achieved. In Enugu, Chinenye, NTA News.
All right, let's just get back to my guest now. Deputy Corps Marshal Operations, FRSC, Kayode Faola, to talk more. All right, so let's turn our attention to, because these are people that break these rules. I mean, rules were made and there are people who break them. So do you penalize, offenders of traffic rules? And if you do, how compelling and effective are the penalties?
Okay, thank you. To answer your question straight, yes, we penalize people who commit traffic offenses, people who break the rules. These penalties are clearly spelled out in the FRSC Establishment Act and the National Road Traffic Regulations. The FRSC itself is not the one that is punishing people. We don't punish people, but we apply the laws as it is. So for traffic offenders, there are certain things that the law permits us to do to them. I know the one people know more is that you are asked to go and pay fine, but it goes beyond that. We want people to first of all admit the fact that they have done wrong, and that when you do wrong in the traffic, the number one life that is on the line is your own life. So part of what we do is first and foremost to bring them to a classroom session where we talk to them, and sometimes we have to play crash scene videos for them to see that what you did that brought you here will have caused this kind of scenario where you see lives lost, limbs broken, vehicles destroyed, general insecurity is caused by this kind of action. So we want the person to, because what we're after is a change of attitude. So we are not out to punish people or to penalize people, but we want them to have a change of attitude. So the law allows us to arrest offenders, and sometimes they may not have to pay fine. We just do enlightenment for them, and then they go out of the classroom with a certain level soberness. They become sober, saying that I was just lucky, what I did, somebody did such and lost his life or lost a limb or caused the life of other people. So we do a lot of teaching, classroom, trying to reorient the people. That is one penalty, you know, which is not monetary, but it takes your time. Sometimes if the offense is a little bit grievous, you may have to come to that class up to 2, 3, 4 times before we release your vehicle back to you or give you your vehicle papers or whatever has been confiscated. Then we also have the one that people know more, which is which people are more aware of, which is the issue of paying fine. The law says that if you commit this offense and you believe that, yes, I committed the offense, there is no point to take me before the magistrate and say, this man, we saw him, he ran a red light at Wuse Zone 2 on so date at so time. If you say, yes, I know I did it and it is wrong, then the law says this is the fine, you can go and pay. However, where the man is saying, no, I didn't do it, it was green that was showing, no, the red had not come when I passed through, and the people are saying, no, you did it, we have evidence against you, then we will have to take such a person before the magistrate.
But how do you sort that out in a situation where, because of course there are bad eggs in the core. I mean, personally, there was a time, you know, I didn't beat the traffic, but I was held, you know, stationary for unnecessarily more than hours for a crime I didn't commit. So how do you, you know, deal with such a situation where I didn't commit a crime, you insisting I committed a crime? So how do we resolve such issues with some of your personnel, you know, taking the other, you know, route?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Not difficult. If you have been alleged to have committed a traffic offense and you are saying, no, I didn't commit it, they are going to give you a ticket. It is called notice of offense. Okay. It is just an allegation. Okay. And the onus of proof is on FRSC. So when you say, no, I didn't do it, okay, so we take you before a magistrate. So if the road safety officers cannot convince the magistrate that you did it, he will let you go. He will let you go.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about your the Corps' response to emergencies. Yeah. How swift? How would you assess the Corps' response to emergency situations?
Yes, that is the one we refer to as the Pillar 5 of UN Decade of Action on Road Safety. So this is one that has to do with post-crash care. We call it post-crash care. The FRSC over time has worked hard to improve on our post-crash care. And one of the most important parts of that post-crash care is reducing the response time. We have 122, which I believe you are used to and you are conversant with. That enables road users, passerby, Nigerians generally, to call FRSC from any part of Nigeria, and we'll be able to respond. When you tell us a crash has just happened, you describe the place. From our call center, they will be able to call the nearest ambulance, zebra point, or patrol team to respond to that crash. That is one. The second thing we have done is to create zebra points. These zebra points are ambulance points along the major highways and in our cities. For instance, within the city of Abuja, we have 11 of such points. So this has helped to reduce the response time. We have reduced the physical distances, and then when we are called upon, we're able to respond very swiftly and get to the scene of the crash as quickly as possible. But we still continue to reduce this response time. Well, within the towns, 10 minutes, on the highways, 15 minutes. Then where we have a long stretch of road, it could be up to 20 minutes. Okay. But our standard is at 10 minutes within the town and 15 minutes on the highway.
Okay, very quickly.
And we have been able to meet up with this.
All right, very quickly now, of course, we're running out of time. Any plan to enforce speed limiting device in commercial vehicles?
Yeah, we have been enforcing speed limiting generally and specifically on commercial vehicles. Okay. Commercial vehicles are in categories. We have the heavy-duty vehicles. We insist that all of them should be fixed with the speed limiting device. Then the buses, passenger buses, all of them are being forced. The fleet owners we have been encouraging them, we engaged with them before we started the enforcement, and this has been on for some time now. So most of them that have identity, not those that maybe are by the roadside, who are not, those fleet operators, either who are individual fleet operators or those who are operating under the auspices of NERTW, retain, all of them, they install the speed limiting device to check speeding on the highways.
All right.
Yeah.
Your final thought. Okay. What is your last word or words, just few words, for drivers, users of road?
Well, thank you very much. I want to plead with all road users, all classes of road users, not necessarily drivers now, all road users to be conscious and know that lives are precious and that lives have no duplicate. If you are a pedestrian, you are walking along or across the road, please be safety conscious. As you are walking across and along the road, watch for vehicles that are coming behind you, in front of you. Then if you are a motorcycle rider, respect that you take care of other road users. You are an exposed road user. If you are carrying a passenger, please make sure that you protect that passenger and protect yourself and ride safely. Then for the drivers, either a commercial driver, private driver, please, the machine that you are using, that equipment can destroy lives, can cause damage to public presence and can cause injury. So drive with care. Our advice is that please, we should all use the road with care.
Safely. Yes. All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Deputy Court Marshal Operations FRSC Kayode Faola. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
NTA Weekend File.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break now. More.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
On Sports Update, let's join Ayodeji Makinde for the latest in the world of sport. Ayodeji.
Thanks, Joseph. Let's start all the way from England and tell you the Nigerian duo of Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi inked their names in gold for Leicester City on Saturday as the Foxes won their first ever English FA Cup by defeating Chelsea by a lone goal at the Wembley Stadium. Leicester, who are guaranteed European football next season, upset the odds in front of 22,000 fans due to COVID-19 restrictions as Yuri Tielemans rifled home in the 63rd minute. Chelsea were denied an equalizing goal as Ben Chilwell was ruled offside by the VAR. Brendan Rodgers becomes the first manager to win the Scottish and English FA Cups after Sir Alex Ferguson, as Chelsea lost back-to-back FA Cup finals. Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa is set to make his return in the Nigeria Professional Football League on Sunday when Kano Pillars take on Adamawa United at the Sani Abacha Stadium in a match that will be live on the NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, Star Sat Channel 434 and Free TV Channel 731. Musa, who was recently included in the 31-man provisional Super Eagles list for the friendly against Cameroon on June 4, returned to the MPFL during the mid-season break. In other match day 21 fixtures, Dakar FC will take on Aqua United. Warri Wolves welcome MFM. FC Ifeanyi Uba visit Aparaku Stadium in Makudi as they take on Lobby Stars, while Wiki Tourists of Bauchi lock horns with Nasarawa United. 20 club sides will slug it out for the third AMAC Football Coaches Council Unity Cup slated for the 19th of May 2021 at the Old Parade Ground and Gariki Area 3 football field. The draws, which held Saturday, will see Superstars FA take on Jada Johansa FA in the opening fixture, with Galadima FC taking on Makins FC. The competition is aimed at discovering young talents in the game of football in the Federal Capital Territory.
There will be 2 games on the opening day, and thereafter the other teams will follow suit in the same manner. But the fixtures will be out hopefully by Tuesday, and then the teams can now begin to work behind the scene on how they will compete fairly.
Still on football, the Confederation of African Football on Saturday announced Egypt as the country to host the 2021 CAF Women's League. The North African nation will stage the inaugural edition of the Women's Club competition in November, featuring 8 teams. Now tennis. World number 1 Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal will meet in the final of the Rome Masters after the Serb edged out Lorenzo Sonego in the semis 6-3, 6-7, 6-2. World number 3 Nadal secured his place after a straight set 6-4, 6-4 win over American world number 47 Riley Opelka. Nadal versus Djokovic rivalry is considered one of the fierce in the Open era, as both have met 56 times, and Djokovic is slightly ahead with 29 wins against Nadal's 27. And that's your sports. It's back to Joseph for the rest of Weekend File.
Thank you, Ayo. And that's Weekend File for tonight. Thank you very much indeed for being a part of it. I'm Joseph Johnson. Remember to always connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. Bye-bye.